Three visionaries, Dr. Nneka Chukwu, Dr. Margaret Obilo, and Dr. Angela Ikeme, authors and pace-setters, came together and wrote a powerful and long-anticipated book, Voices of Triumph, Stories of African Women Immigrants in America. This book highlights African cultural heritage, the delicate balancing act of work-life expectations, especially for women navigating corporate America while upholding strong cultural roots.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our July episode of Voices of Triumph on the Road. I am Dr. Nneka Chukwu, and with me, as always, are my sisters.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Ngozi Obilo.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Angela Ikeme.
Awesome.
Nice to be here again.
Great.
Yes.
And we're coming to you from the beautiful city of Santa Clara, California, the home of the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. And today we are delighted and honored and privileged to be sitting down with an extraordinary leader whose impact reaches beyond Silicon Valley. Our guest is Harbir Bhatia, President and CEO of the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. Harbir is a visionary leader whose career spans high technology, entrepreneurship, public service, community development, placemaking, media production, and humanitarian work. Wow.
Wow, drum roll.
She has
Nice to have you on.
She has dedicated her life to building stronger communities, fostering innovation, and creating opportunities for others to thrive. Her outstanding leadership has earned her numerous prestigious honors. She was recognized as a 2025 Woman of Influence, received the Carl G. On World Peace and Understanding Award, was honored as a California Assembly District 25 Women's History Month honoree for business leadership, and has received multiple Community Hero Medals from Santa Clara County for her leadership and social entrepreneurship, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Most remarkably, she became the only American recipient of the Hero of Kharkiv City Medal of Honor from Kharkiv, Ukraine, recognizing her humanitarian service and international leadership. Harbir is also one of the speakers at our upcoming Roots and Rise Leadership Conference on October 19th. We are so
Right.
honored to have you on this show, Harbir.
Thank you so much. It's very uncomfortable to listen to that. I'm like, who are they talking about?
Oh,
You guys are so
You.
sweet. And I'll just want to say thank you for having me. Actually, it takes one to know one is the way we say things. To observe good in others is because there's good in you.
absolutely.
So I'm honored to be with your presence.
Thank you.
Thank
We are
you.
honored too.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we're
Thank
very
you.
honored to have
What a
you.
privilege.
Yeah.
But before we delve into our conversation, I don't know about you ladies, but during the most recent Legends and Silicon Valley Champions Annual Awards, I had a blast.
Oh, that was really nice. I mean, just being in the dome even was a very wonderful experience. And then, to see all those awards and everything else that you've accomplished here at Silicon Valley Chambers, it's amazing.
It's interesting that you observed that about the domes because eventually the reason we switched to that location is it really represented how we felt about the impact we have, but how we want to create impact. It was immersive, it was innovative. And we wanted to make sure that if we do something, we're doing it in the space that represents that feeling that we want to create, which is about innovation. But in this case, it was about innovation, bringing community together, about immersive experiences, which is also the future. So I just felt like it was so representative of the people that we're celebrating and the times that we're celebrating.
I got into the dome. I was like, am I in the space? It was the most beautiful space I've ever seen. And seeing you standing there, I'm like, oh my goodness, how did she get to get this space? And knowing that it was even the first event to be hosted in that space was amazing. Looking at the starry skies and when, all the California landscape, I'm like, yeah, this is it. Thank you for
That's
giving us the
right.
opportunity to be part
Oh,
of that
it's very
awesome
observant.
event. Yeah.
That's very considerate and observant of you because that's exactly what we wanted to do. We can
Yes.
always do things better, but our
Yes.
goal was to make sure that we really just had people have that feeling of awe. And you really just, you summed it up so beautifully. And I think that was the objective, and it looks like we met our objective.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It was
For me,
awesome.
though, it was watching you,
Yeah.
this woman standing with, every time you stood on the stage with all the men who had accomplished so much, who have been recognized, I couldn't help but think, this powerful woman
Yes.
whose last name is not Smith is standing on the stage leading this movement. And that is what every little girl watching you or listening to
jeez.
you imagines and believes in. Wow, I can be up there, I can be better, I can dream, I can become anything I want to be. That is one thing that kept ringing in my ears. And as I watched you on that stage, it was such a powerful moment for me.
I really, really appreciate you saying that. You actually got me emotional because I don't have children, and I always dreamed that I would have create a legacy through them, that because it came from my mother, which you all three have met, that I could help them break the barriers for the future. And I still struggle with those barriers because I'm tuned in a certain way because the upbringing that I've seen. And but I always want to make sure I'm being a disruptor, but a disruptor that's being appreciated, not misunderstood. And so you just saying that really fills my heart. It really does. And I just hope that by just being who I am, that I can let others know, be who you are, because you automatically, creating new pathways and showing people different things without trying to be something else. Just be yourself. And there's so much for each of us to offer. I'm blessed that I have this role, but let's be fair that every woman has such stories to tell.
Yes.
I am just by nature the consequence or outcome of the two parents that brought me to life and gave me the life I have, and they're very different from each other. But they're best of their skills. I'm lucky to have those. So then I'm able to package them and be able to do it in my role. However, it doesn't mean that others don't have those great qualities. It's just that we're not used to letting women have spaces to do that. Or maybe we just haven't had enough time yet for more women to have those spaces to do that. There's a thing that I tell all our women when I have to give talks or even to my own team. You can give a woman anything and she will deliver.
Yes.
And I say that with both meanings in mind, that without her, humanity does not exist. So she delivers there. And if you give her a project, she will deliver. And if I may say something else, which is a question you had asked me to think about, I follow and practice a Sikh tradition in which our first spiritual master said, why hate women or look down upon them when without them, life does not exist. And without them, kings are
That's
not
a
born.
powerful quote.
Yes.
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 From them, kings are born.
Absolutely.
From without them, life does not exist. Those are powerful words.
They are.
And I have to remind myself so I don't forget.
Yes.
So I appreciate you asking me those questions and letting me share your perspective.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite inspirational.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good
Again,
time
I'm in the
today.
circle of inspirational women, so we can appreciate each other.
Quite inspirational. All right, let's jump into some of the other questions we have today. So this year, the United States celebrated its 250th anniversary, and it's such an accomplishment. It's been a journey, but what does it mean? What does this historical milestone mean to you?
It actually means a lot because I was old enough to know when I left India that my parents left their comfort zone, that they left their family and their community to give me a better life. But they came here because of those principles. And the Declaration of Independence for me is one of my favorite documents. I kind of find it juicy. I know people think those probably not the appropriate terms for a Declaration of Independence, but I find it so juicy. says, "We hold these truths self-evident that all men are created equal, with the equal and the right to liberty and pursuit of happiness, and that they are the ones who select their governments and those that govern them." When you think about that, how can you not be reminded of the benefits that we have and the powers we have as individuals to be American? And at the same time, it also reminds me that we also have to stay humble, because we've only been around for 250 years as one nation called the United States. Prior to that, we had a great legacy. We had the Native Americans, we had the Mexican culture. All these were cultures before us as a nation. But as a nation, our principles are only been tried for 250 years. But we also are reminded that they only last if you put them into effect. If those principles of checklists or checking the power and controls are not checked, the system doesn't work. So for me, it's a reminder that we are still very young as a nation, and that we should not get too comfortable in assuming that because we have these freedoms and these rights and these liberties, that they have come to us taken for granted. And to sustain those, we must practice the principles that were put in place by our nation's founders, because if not, then we are no different than any other government in the world. And we are no different than any other society in the world. And that is what truly makes us different. But if we do not do that, if our government, arms, our civil, or our members don't vote, our citizens don't take part, there is no difference between this country's government or any others. And right now we've seen the consequences of citizens being stagnant, citizens taking our culture for granted, not remembering that these values and the benefits we have are built on those immigrants that came before us. Whether it was those that lived here, our Native Americans and our, California was part of Mexico, right? All those people are contributors to this amazing society. And then after that was the immigrants that came from Europe and other parts of the world. If I go back, I can name so many cultures that are critical to the success of this nation. And that includes whether it was the East Asians, whether it was South Asians, whether it was a Sikh community building our farms, whether it was the slaves that were brought from Africa. Every one of them is the reason we have what we have today.
Yes.
And it could not have existed without any of those stories, without any of those challenges and triumphs. And so this 250th means so much to me, because it's a constant reminder of what I was to leave when I was a child, that my parents ripped themselves from what they knew as comfort and love from their parents to bring us children here. I was getting on the plane. It was a Pan Am flight. It was raining outside. And it was me, my mom, and my brother and sister. And I said, why are we doing this? Papa's already gone to America. Why are we leaving everything we know? Our grandparents, why? Because there was a dream. And that dream is what we consider, is made because of the Declaration of Independence. And how can we not celebrate it?
Absolutely. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's powerful.
That-
And I'm also curious to know, because I think this particular question should apply to all of us.
Yeah.
Dr. Angela, do you want to share?
Yes,
What does this mean to you?
listening to Harbir coming here, knowing the time. Myself, I came here as an adult, and it didn't take me long to know that we, the immigrants, are the backbone of this nation's economy. And we cannot forget that. And then reading into the history of all the other nations that came here, Mexico, Italians, even the Irish, they all went through all the challenges any immigrant is going. But their perseverance, their resilience built the economy. So celebrating the 50 years, to me, it's like celebrating multiple nations leaving their homeland, coming into another country, another foreign land, nothing. A lot of us came with nothing in our pockets. But look at where we are today. So it's a celebration of joy, it's a celebration of success. But at the same time, the democracy we cannot take for granted, because I tell people, I even tell my children, democracy is like a family. You must hold it so dear, like the most precious ornament you ever own. Don't let it crack.
I think it's so beautiful that it's a family that you have to hold together.
Yes.
as Obama said, it's an active sport, not
Yes.
not a spectator sport.
So celebrating this whole 250, yes, it sounds like a lot, but if you look at past um, past countries that have been in existence, you realize that America is still a baby.
It is still a
Yeah,
baby.
compared to some nations in Europe and the ancient worlds, we are still a baby. We are still growing. Yeah.
And it's interesting you mentioned that
Yeah.
you know about the immigrants that really built us, but even today,
Yeah.
they are still the ones who are contributing,
Yes.
right? And that if we do not continue to fight for that democracy, it will go away.
It will go away.
Yeah.
And we'll regret it.
Yeah.
Our children will regret it, generations to come, and they will blame us
Yes.
for staying silent.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Margaret.
I know. I share the same sentiments, you know, and it's interesting because I've been to 2 other countries before I got to the United States. And as like both of you said, I came in as an adult as well. And it is a huge success to see this 250 years, right? And to also acknowledge all of the things that we have here. It is truly us showing our potentials and being able to, because you know, I was originally born in London, came out here, and I saw the difference, right? Even the way we treat everybody else, it's different here in the United States. And like you all said, we should not forget that we are diverse, right? We are a diverse country. Trying to take us back, you know, several years ago, it's not going to work. And so, like both of you have said, we need to speak up. We need to continue to fight for this democracy that we have, because that's the only way, that's the uniqueness of the United States, right? We need to be able to speak up and say what we need to say. Because in some other countries, we can't do that, right? And so this country has given us an opportunity to do that, has given us opportunity to come out here and grow, right? And put our potentials to where you can go. The sky is the limit for you, like my dad used to say to me. So I really do see a lot of gratitude for this 250 years, and we need to continue to work on it, and it's a good place to be.
You know, also one thing you said that is interesting. You said that, you know, for all the things we have, it just occurred to me that it was only the 1960s that all of us got the right to vote.
Yes.
If it wasn't for, you know, Martin Luther King, we wouldn't have those rights to vote.
Yeah.
And I mean, before him, we had women who fought for it. We had Bhagat Singh Thind who fought for it. But at the same time, it still kept going back and forth.
Yes.
And just imagine, that was just a short time ago.
Years
Yes.
ago.
So we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you said something that makes me laugh all the time. You know, the sky is the limit.
Yeah.
But someone told me, no, the sky is only the stepping stone. So I'm like, I'll take that. It's only a stepping stone.
Okay.
But for me, it's actually a period to pause and to reflect and to honor
Yeah.
all the men and women who fought for us. Like you already mentioned some of them, people who gave up their lives in pursuit of this freedom and the happiness and giving us the opportunity to be in these spaces freely, you know, without fear. So it's just a moment of gratitude for me to remember them, to honor them, and to build on what they've already started. What are we going to do with what we've been given?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Who are we
Potential.
helping? Who are we lifting as we continue? As we remember all these wonderful men and women and their accomplishments and what they've given us, what are we giving to the people who are going to come after us? What legacy are we building? What legacy are we leaving behind? And with that, we are going to delve into the next question.
Yes. So, Javier, I know you started talking about this a little bit in terms of your journey and your experiences. But maybe you can expand a little bit more about that by telling us a little more about your journey and your experiences that shaped how you are today as a leader.
Sometimes I will say some of those decisions were mine, some of those are mostly because of the consequences or context, right? As a child, you don't really choose a bunch of things. I was born into a Punjabi Sikh family, and Sikhi is what we practice as a tradition, and Punjab is in India. So all these three things have a lot to do with who I am today. And then leaving India, becoming an immigrant, added such a whole nother layer to that. And even in India, Punjabi Sikhs or Sikhs are much a minority. So we're used to being a minority, whether it was there or here. That's just something you're accustomed to. But here was a different cultural shock. And the times we came, India was very closed to the Western world or to open trade. Nothing was possible. And America was the exact opposite, right? However, my parents were very afraid. What did that mean? Leaving a nation with what you knew to a place you know nothing about, which is very open. So they became very like protective, but at the same time, they wanted us to flourish. So it was a very strange dichotomy because on one hand, they want you to be everything you can be, but at the same time, they're trying to protect you because they don't understand the culture because it's so different from what they were. From the beginning, the thing that we saw helped all the kids, I'm the eldest of three, is that community service became a central part of our life. That is how we were able to learn about people, build community, and start to learn about where we lived. And we moved a lot. My father quickly, like many immigrants, worked very hard to get us stabilized. But he also comes from a very deep and rich history, which has to do with the India partition. So he was running as a child when he was 7 to cross the borders of the new India, new Pakistan. So that shaped his influence a lot, which came onto us. And so he was very modestly lived, very poor in that way. And so when he came here, he had a very direct relationship to that. So we've been as children, had that as a part of our framework since I can remember. And so, so he's very sensitive to people's plight, hard work, and ensuring that everybody's treated fairly and equally, and everybody's treated with the opportunity to be included. So from the beginning, we used to go to MLK walk. Since I can remember, our father took us to annual walk for MLK every year, so we could learn the importance of that history, to clean up the streets, to feed the homeless. So that was kind of what we thought was normal, right? So that had a lot to do with our perspectives of how you view people or your society. And because we didn't have many people like us, there were very few minorities in general where we lived. And so our Sikh tradition became a huge pillar for us of our rules of life. You have to treat everybody equally. Every religion is the same and equal and respected. Every gender, should be treated with respect. Economy or economic status has nothing to do with anything. We thought those are norms for everybody. That's actually made some things harder for us. So I kind of sounds like I feel like I'm talking to a psychiatrist right now, but it is so much a part of that foundational laying down. But it did cause struggle for us to have that kind of belief system because we didn't fit in with people even more so, because they were all about me, 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 me. They were all about, I got to fight for my food. I got to fight for my family. I got to fight for that. So not only did we look different, my father wore a turban. My brother looked like a typical white guy because his skin was very fair. He had blue eyes. His hair was to the floor. And so we were just odd in so many ways. And so we kind of got used to being different. And that made us feel more that we had to constantly fight for people's rights. Because we were constantly fighting for our rights, we started fighting for everybody's rights all the time. It just became who we were. And then just by the fact that my father had to move to find a job because of his turban, they did face some prejudice. And so he had to move around a lot. So I became very sensitive to that. And then being a woman and being the eldest, I was always the one who was a fighter for the family. If you look at my dad wrong, I'll do things to you. Look at my brother wrong, I might do something to you. It just became my nature.
Yes.
And so I became the protector of my family, of my brother and sister and my mother. And so that just was normal for us. But then Iran-Contra also happened. And so we got we paid a lot of prejudice because people would assume that we are terrorists because that we are, my dad wears a turban, our skin is different color. So we faced these first decade of welcome, opportunity, strict rules because we didn't know where we fit, foreign culture, but while also being encouraged to have these beliefs that are supposed to be equitable. So I would say that has a lot to do with who I am today. Every decision after that was influenced by that. We had no role models. The only role models we had were our Sikh gurus, our spiritual masters. So talk about a very black and white world. This is good, that's bad, right? So I will say that makes you a little naive, but being also having to move around also made you learn about people a lot. You had to learn how to survive. You had to learn how to make new friends immediately. And you also had to know how to get along with different cultures. So when I went to college, I didn't know what I was supposed to do as a woman. I was in shot put and discus in high school, and I broke the school records, and I was made fun of because I was a muscular girl. And I was like, well, I'm already different, so I guess this is normal. And then my name was Harbir, so I used to say Harbir. And these are all things that, change who you are. And so when I got to college, I had to make a choice. What am I to study?
Yeah.
Well, as immigrants, we have a few choices. You're either a scientist, you are a doctor, you are an engineer, or you're a PhD at something.
You gotta add the other one, or a disgrace to your family. So that's
sorry. Or a disgrace to your family. And all of us were like, well, we don't really have a choice.
Yes.
So I said, Papa's an engineer, so I'll become an engineer.
Yes.
And that's what I did. And again, guess what? I was 5 out of all the school of women in engineering. So I was like, well, this seems to be the normal of life. This is maybe how life, and you know what? You start accepting everything is supposed to be hard.
Yes.
That's it.
Javier, I just want to say, first of all, you said something, you said being odd, and I prefer to say being unique. But I had the pleasure and the blessing of visiting a Sikh temple.
Yes, I did too.
And
Wow.
and just sitting in their midst and eating with them, and of course I found an outfit because I like to go all the way.
Well, I know where to share my clothes now. I don't have enough places to wear those. So,
but beyond that, I was so humbled. I call it Sikh 101. I was so humbled to
man, you're
learn
amazing.
about this unique culture and religion and the beauty of it. And it's actually in my quest to understand. When we talk about cultural humility, what does that really mean? It means I need to sit on the floor with you. I need to eat your food. I need to hear you. I need to listen. I need to understand. What was very interesting was when we were planning for that trip, I put a poster together, and I was so proud of myself because I found pictures of what I thought I was, the right thing. And my my team member who was taking us to the temple said, that's a different. I'm like, oh, it's not Sikh. She said, no, you're not. But it was such a humbling experience for me. But the power in the story that you just shared, being different, being unique, understanding that it's a beauty. It's not something that should deter you from achieving greatness or accomplishing greatness, but really something that empowers and fuels your desire to become better, to achieve what you need to achieve, is so powerful. And I just want to say thank you
I know.
wow.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
You guys are really making me very emotional. But thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
But I also want to say that people have a very hard time using the word religion because in Western cultures, religion is assumed to be something you're trying to impose on somebody else. When in our traditions, of the East traditions, it's just a piece of conversation.
Yes.
It's just something that's part of your life.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you saying that and making me feel comfortable and having shared that with you.
Yeah.
And listening to you, I was giggling inside my mind, and all the stories you shared, how you felt, your parents, totally same with us, from what we came from. I was, putting myself in your parents' shoes. It's like this whole thing is exactly the same. And there are children who happen to be like you, poor children. So,
Yeah.
Thank you for understanding that.
Yes.
confused. And we always talk about it. Oh my goodness, our children are so in such a difficult situation because they don't know whether to follow their parents'
Yeah.
teaching and
Yes.
culture and grounding and framework, or the culture of the school or the people they are meeting outside
Yes.
the home. So it becomes a very challenging thing for
Yes.
immigrant children that if you are not in that space, you may never understand.
Yeah.
And that's why we started this book, you know,
Yeah.
published it a few years ago. As we interview all these women, everybody was saying the same thing. And when it comes to culture and children and all that, it was like the same thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which household you are, it doesn't matter the skin color, it doesn't matter which country or culture you came from. Everybody shares the
Similar
same.
stories.
And you know, this beautiful one, you know, from one of people we interviewed, you know, from Our Voices of Triumph, Stories of African Immigrant Women. And this was from, let's see,
Engineer Ugochi.
Engineer Ugochi Okwoma. She said, keep doing your best. Your work will speak louder than your skin color or any other
beautiful.
labels anyone tries to put on you. And
So beautiful.
so beautiful, especially, you know, where we are today. And I know you have already shared some of this. It takes me to the next question, which is what you have already stated. As an immigrant, Indian, American, and Sikh woman, how you have broken barriers and continue to inspire countless people. What message would you share with immigrants, young women who may doubt their ability to achieve greatness because of their background? Because we have a lot of women struggling with this,
Yeah.
trying to navigate.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is that there is no one answer.
Yes.
There is no one way. Look, in my tradition and or culture as well, I'm supposed to be married, have kids, and I thought I'd have 1,000 kids. I don't. That's not very practical.
I think you do
You
already.
do.
I think you,
You
do.
do.
And that's what
Because
I
all
get
the
to.
kids
Exactly.
you inspire, those are your
Exactly.
kids.
Yes.
Yes.
And I will say that that dilemma of being American and Sikh and Indian and a woman, Punjabi also, has something to do with, has influenced that challenge, this thing. Because in these traditions, you are expected to be vocal. You're expected to be independent, free thinking, and recognize that you're equal. But, you know, living in a world where you're constantly reminded that you're not supposed to be,
Yeah.
it makes it hard. So I will say that you just get up every day with that understanding that you are focusing on a goal and an outcome, and just focus on that success. And there is a constant critic inside your head, whether you're a woman or a man. But I believe women have more of it. And that critic is constantly preventing you from moving forward. And I will say in my case, because of the Sikh tradition I come from, where women are, by faith or by design, are meant to be so front and center and important, it gives me something to lean on. So I can't lie to you that that did help me a lot, to know that I'm being encouraged to feel this way. But it's never meant to be easy. And it's not, a journey of life will be boring as heck if everything just works out fine. What are we
Thank
living
you.
towards?
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's correct.
we're all going to be dead, and we're not taking any of this with us. So all we're taking with us is our experiences and what we leave behind. And you said it from the beginning about building legacy. And I think the thing that if every woman can remember is focus on what you can control, focus on creating impact. When you do those things, you will leave a positive story for yourself and for somebody else to build off of. And we constantly are building up. We're not supposed to build backwards. Building is never building. You don't build downwards, you build upwards,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a post I was reading, a social media post the other day, and I wrote a long thing on it, and I just stopped writing. I'm like, I'm never going to stop talking at this point. And I realized it was so powerful. It was about women have been always taught to lose weight, to make themselves smaller. First of all, I'm Punjabi. That's never going to happen. Okay? My bones are twice as thick as everybody else's. Secondly, I was a weightlifter. Definitely not going to happen. Then
And
I'm
the
on that,
shot, and the shot put through.
and the shot putter.
On the shop.
And then on top of that, being a Sikh woman who's told to be like this. So then I'm like, well, I can never be that. So I've got to stop trying because I've never been skinny enough.
Yeah.
And if I was, then it was wrong to love that. And what she said is, why aren't we women looking at how are we going to make more muscle? How are we going to make live healthier? How are we going to live more good to ourselves? We remove the barriers of our culture, we remove the barriers of our history when we start focusing on these things that we're going to build up versus what I'm not good enough at. You see the difference? And we were talking about, it was about weight, but it was a direct relationship to how women are constantly taught to make themselves smaller. Whether you're an immigrant because of the culture you come from, whether you're in a nation that says men and women are equal, but then they constantly, make women as sex objects.
Yeah.
And then you come into a place where, people want you to look just like them. The only thing that we can do is say, okay, what can I do better? What can I do to make more of my time and myself and just focus on that? Because if you zoom out, everything else becomes so small, right? When you zoom out from the universe, we look like a speck on the dirt, on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell if you're a man or woman? You cannot. Can you tell how rich you are, poor you are? Not really. You can't see how much Botox you got on your face. You can't see any of that. So the breaking barriers comes down to remembering to focus on what is in your control, being better than yourself, and trying to create impact. When you do that, everything else will work out just fine.
Wow.
Powerful.
Oh my gosh, we gotta.
Yes,
We need
amen.
to clock that. Clock it, please.
Yes,
Wow.
that's really a lot of what we
Yes.
emphasized too. And like Dr.
Yeah.
Angela said, in our book was constant.
It's
We
constant.
interviewed 11 women and each of them had a similar type of experience, even though we're all in different fields, but it's that piece that you mentioned around just focus on what you can control. Because we can't control our weight. This is what God gave to us. And when you talked about the Punjabi and your
bone
size
density.
and bone.
It's never gonna
Talk
happen,
about
guys.
the Igbos in Nigeria.
yeah, look
That's
at-
you see how all of us are? That-
Which is why we're here to take up more space to let them know we're here.
Yes.
I don't want to disappear.
No, exactly. So we can't, we already know what we are, who we are, what God or whoever is that higher power has said, this is who you are. We got to make the best of it. And it's focusing on it. And also, where is your talent? Like you said, focus on that talent and make an impact. That's all we can do.
And that there will always be a
Yeah.
critic in your own head. You just got to remember
Yes.
that you're the critic.
Yes. So anyways, I think we go to the next question, which delves a little bit more into our book on the Voices of
Yes.
Triumph. And in that book, we really did share a lot of practical lessons, or, like we're all saying today, and on just how we've thrived in America, right? Coming from places where we're coming back and relearning a lot of things, or
Yes.
even, picking up from where we stopped. So through our organization as Roots and Rise, right, we are really celebrating resilience and hope and trying to make an impact. And I remember us meeting with you, right, at the Mantra Monday, and just how inspiring you were, and you're the one who brought us to Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce here. So as you kind of think of, what is your perspective, as you think about the chamber at this time, as a business leader, working with all the community organizations and all of that, what is the most effective way that you feel we can be helping immigrant
Women.
entrepreneurs, especially the women, right? Because I know this chamber serves everyone.
Yes.
And how can we make the women succeed? How can we make them better leaders in what they do? And then really have a lasting impact in the economy?
That's a great question. And let's talk about why it matters women and economy. So women, by data, so I don't sound like I'm stereotyping, are always concerned more about themselves and their children and the community before themselves alone. And so that is why many foundations around the world give loans. They're called microloans, and you may know Grameen Foundation from Bangladesh. Muhammad Yunus was the first one who founded the Grameen Foundation, and he said he wants to give small microloans to women because he knew that if you empowered a woman, you empowered a whole community.
Yes.
And that's what was my takeaway of that. He may have said different things, but that's how I interpreted it. And so if I wanted to tell some advice or some best practices to help women, is one, you must network. You must get comfortable being uncomfortable. You must start engaging people in your respectable space, whatever that is space is, that, you know, each of us comes from different cultures and traditions. But when it comes to commerce and community, we need to know at what line we all play, or what common zones we play in together or work together in. And in those zones, you must learn to get comfortable networking with men and women. Women are the worst networkers there are. And women are worst at recognizing and celebrating their successes. There was a LinkedIn study years ago that said the women will rather promote a man or another woman. And I think they did a study of a few hundred women, and it was over 80% that jumped and said yes and started to do it immediately. When they were asked to promote themselves, less than 7% were able to do it. Not even talk about effectively, but just do it. So that in itself tells me there's a very simple explanation and simple thing that they can do. Do not think of personal development as a boundary that is just for yourself and something in the secret and hidden. If you want to be successful, you have to be economically sustainable.
Yes.
There's no better way to sustain a society than empowering their women to be economically stable. And if that means that you need to retrain yourself, go retrain yourself. If that means you need linguistic skills, language speaking skills, go get them. Don't be afraid. If you need to learn how to dress and be more presentable in business community, don't be afraid to do it. Don't let your own limiting factors become such closing. They make you so tight and judged and constrained that you can't move forward. And I often see women we're trying to bring back into workplace say, I don't have any work experience. I said, what are you talking about? They're like, well, I've been a mother my whole life.
Yeah.
I said, I think you're probably more in the best position to be in a leadership role than anybody else.
Yes.
They say, why? I'm like, you're constantly managing so many people. Their egos, their needs, their travel schedules,
Yeah.
their food needs, their
Tantrums.
their emotional ups and downs. I said, I think you're better in this position than I am.
Yeah.
But they don't see themselves as that. So I think we have to, again, give them very specific examples and tools to let them feel that they have value to add, and that they must start communication and engaging other people. So it's very common even today for girls in college, we come and talk to them about this, that you must network, one. You must recognize you have more hidden talents that you've been told than you've been told, because we don't acknowledge and celebrate them. And we have to start stepping out of those traditional roles and identifying how those skills translate to the workplace. Yeah. 3 is we need to give them opportunities to try and fail. Because if we don't do that, then they're afraid to take the next step.
Yes.
So in my office, it was not by design. All the people we have here working are women. It was not that we said that we were only going to hire women. But surprisingly, the only ones that have been able to have the resiliency to stick through it are the women. And 4 of them, or 3, have never worked before. But they're getting the chance and bite-sized experiences to make them feel that they are able to achieve this. So now we realize we need to give more women opportunities to practice in very specific scopes so they can feel successful and have more confidence. And our chamber's philosophy is a thriving Silicon Valley for all, irrespective of gender, race, color of your skin, your religion, your self-identity, whatever it is. So it behooves us to make sure at least the ones like you three are the ones that not only have ability to make yourself successful, you are multipliers. When you make women successful, we multiply the effect all throughout society.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
It's,
Okay. This is. I mean, we want to continue asking questions, but we're gonna save.
Yes.
We're gonna save some of the comments. You have to come
Yeah.
to the Roots and Rise Synergy Leadership Conference taking place on October 9th to hear from this powerhouse.
Yes.
So I think we'll have to skip the questions, some of these questions, because we want you to come and
Yes.
hear from Harbir.
Yeah.
Truly phenomenal. And I love what you just said. You know, when I interview people, that's what we call, and we wrote about that in our book as well, false sense of humility. I think every woman possesses this false sense of
Yes.
humility. So when I interview people who are looking for opportunities, you know, and I ask the question, can you share your strengths and opportunities? 100% of the women will start with the opportunities. Well, what I'm working on, and I always stop them,
So true.
right?
I never
Because
thought of
I
that.
said, understand that I phrased that question intentionally, asking for your strengths. Lead with that. Don't tell me first what what I'm working on. I think I'm weak. No. I know it's part of the question, but I really want you to shine. Tell me why I should hire you. This is your
Oh my
opportunity.
gosh, I feel like you're
for
such
that.
great psychologists for me today.
And so in hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my God, we have work to do.
Yeah.
Because a man can waltz into an office and tell you why he's fit to be the vice president of the company, why he needs a promotion. And we don't, but we show up and we apologize first. Well, I'm sorry to bother you.
Yeah.
And no. We want to lead with our strength. We want to say, I have what it takes to be in this position, to get this promotion, to get my money. I am it.
yes.
I'm it.
Yes. And, listening to you, I'm like, okay, this book started this journey. Because
Yes.
three of us, we didn't know each other from Nigeria.
No.
We came here, we started talking to each other, and we realized, we are facing the same challenges.
Yes.
We are facing the same issues and have the same mindset. How can we make a difference? How can we change the narrative? How do we change our women? And that's why the book was about. We kind of we
Started
focused
out-
on
No,
the
I love
on
the
women.
stories. It's
But
right next to my
then,
sofa.
The more we talk about the issues, the more we realize probably there is a reason why we are focusing on women. Just like you said, I was having similar conversation with one of my staff not too long ago about any woman who can run a home can run any
Anywhere.
biggest organization in the world. And hearing you say this now, I was like, yes, I am 100% right. Because if you can take care of your own family, it's the same people's skill that you need to run an organization. So why are we women coming into workforce saying we don't have any skill?
Yeah.
We are coming in with a lot of skill. And being an immigrant woman even makes you more because
capable.
you are built with resilience, right? When
the
you
beginning.
were from the beginning inside your mother's womb. You came out, you were taught how to stay strong and be resilient and overcome every odd.
You should call this roots and resilience.
I love that.
Yes, I love that.
I love
We'll
that.
add resilience to
Add
the back of
resilience.
that. That
Exactly.
becomes
Yes.
3 R's.
Wow,
Yes.
Harbir, what an
Thank you.
inspiring
That's
conversation.
wonderful.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for spending time with us. Thank you for sharing your journey and your knowledge with us. We're excited about having you at the Roots and Rise Leadership Conference coming soon. And
I'm so excited with you all three. You really, you gave me what I needed today. So much, because every day I first have to deal with what you just said about they say we can't do it, and we have to completely explain ourselves. We're constantly told, no, you're being aggressive, when you think, no, I'm being assertive.
Yes.
It's just, you really, really pumped me for today. I got my injection that I needed.
Amen.
I'm empowered.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Well, to our viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us. We cannot do this work without you. Thank you for all your support and your love. Please continue to follow us on social media, check out our website, and tune in to watch this wonderful episode. Until next time, we are the voices of triumph.
Triumph.
They will.
Roots and Rise Synergy proudly presents our inaugural flagship leadership conference. Our theme this year, Drawing Strength from Your Roots, explores how your identity, culture, and lived experience can shape powerful, authentic leadership. Join a dynamic gathering of multicultural and globally diverse leaders right here in the heart of Silicon Valley. Feel the energy come to life with vibrant cultural performances, including African drumming and steel drum rhythms. Why attend? You get to hear from influential executives and trailblazers, gain practical tools to elevate your leadership, build meaningful connections with diverse professionals. Who should attend? This event is perfect for executives, entrepreneurs, mid-level leaders, emerging leaders, and students who are ready to grow. Register now using the information on your screen. For more details, visit our website, www.rootsandrisesynergy.com, or call 510-493-0484. Act fast. Be one of the first 20 to register and score a free ticket to the highly acclaimed Silicon Valley African Film Festival. Don't miss out on this exclusive bonus. We proudly thank our community partners, the Silicon Valley African Film Festival and the African Immigrant Collective. Your dedication and partnership make our work possible. Rise with purpose through the Roots and Rise Synergy Conference. We hope to see you there.